it's going. Hi, my name is Peter Knuckles, and I ordered the Tempest 120p with the top-mounted blade rudder, and it was supposed to get installed, but it kind of went the wayside, but I mean, you guys have seen the back order log on the kayaks themselves, so I am by no means saying that the guys at Hoodoo did me any real disservice. I mean, this was took me maybe 20 minutes, aside the quick trip to the hardware store for something, but I'll get into that later. But yeah, I mean, so far I'm loving the thing. Haven't got it out on the water yet, but that's mostly because I've got 2 kids and a full-time job, and in the process of trying to demo my house. So yeah, let's just jump right on in here. So your the bottom mounted rudder the top of it would be right in here, and your cables would feed through this hole here and this hole here. I'm probably going to caulk those in the future just so I don't wind up with stuff getting in my hole. But you can get to the cable sleeves, as I'm sure many of you guys have noticed, with the rudder. There's a couple of sleeve inserts that go down here because they cross, and you don't want steel cable rubbing against itself. Here's actually one of the ends of the sleeving. So it's actually pretty hefty stuff down in there. But yeah, you can kind of pull them over here. There's not a ton of wiggle in them. But those will feed up through the hole up to your control here. Again, I've got everything crimped down, so I don't particularly want to unbolt everything, but I mean, these things probably stand to be torqued down a little bit more, maybe throw some Loctite red in them after the fact, just so they don't try to walk or anything. But so the cables will feed up through here, through the corners right up here, and here through the sleeving. And there's a pretty deep V-groove underneath here that they feed through. There's a couple of cotter pins that are kind of work as little guides over here to kind of keep them on track. And there's a brass insert right in line with this. Unfortunately, the brass insert, I don't know if I just got slightly different cables or not, but it was about 1/64th too small. The hole was maybe 3/64ths, and I got 16th cable. And any of you guys who use empirical fractions for measurement and whatnot, that's just a butt hair too small. Anyways, so you go ahead, and there will be 2 dimples, one right here, one right here, that look just like that little dimple right there. I went ahead and drilled those out with a 1/4 inch countersink. It was kind of the only thing I had that was about the right size. In retrospect, I probably should have used a slightly larger bit and put like a drywall anchor in there just to kind of act as a bit of sleeving up here, because you really don't want to take out the sleeving under here where your cables are crossing, because those will do far more damage to themselves than you'll really do on this plastic if you put that insert in there. And I think most of those come split anyways, so you can always just put your split up where it's not really going to be in contact and keep the plastic down low and swap those out as needed. But having a cable in there, I don't particularly want to put a drill bit in there again. Anyways, so you go ahead and pull the corresponding sleeve to whichever end you're feeding first. You go ahead and pull that out. You can actually pull the end up in here. So once you find your cable, it'll probably wind up in the hole somewhere over there. You grab that, you feed it through the sleeving. The sleeving ends up in here. And then I kind of did this in stages, pulling the original cable and feeding in the new one. So yeah, I mean, you can kind of do whatever the heck you want. It's your kayak. But yeah, I fed it up through here first, and then I started pulling the cable back up through here. But when I got up to, pretty much up to here, I stopped and pulled the sleeving back out of here to where I had some of the new cable was coming out of it, but I still had the original cable down in the hole here. And I just used electrical tape, which almost didn't work, and it would have kind of sucked if it didn't, because then I'd have to feed it back in, find it again, and find a process that did work better. But I used electrical tape and basically used it as a mule tape. The electricians will know what the heck I'm talking about. And pulled it back up through the other up through the hole here. Again, wish I'd drilled that out slightly larger so I didn't have to try to catch it with a pair of needle nose. But it came out okay. And once you get it kind of equal lengths out of here, as you can see, I've got some extra cable here. And honestly, if the cable did ever stretch too bad, I'd probably just wind up replacing it, because it's 16th inch cable. You can get this at Home Depot for cheap. Just make sure you get stainless, especially if you're taking it out on salt, because galvanized will rust faster than stainless. And you guys on the coasts know exactly what I'm talking about. But yeah, so yours will come with crimps. Hopefully mine kind of disappeared somewhere in the shipping. Like, the bag was taped on top, but it still kind of blew out the bottom. But that's kind of what happens with craft bags. I'm, again, not worried about it. I was able to go to Home Depot and get like 8 of them for $3 or $4. Not a big deal. Now I've got extra crimps left over if I want to do something else with cable. But yeah, so it also came with some S-clips. I opted to just not use them. And I mean, I might in the future, if I ever recable this thing, I'll probably put some sort of insert in here and probably coat the cable in like Plasti Dip or something, or some rubberizing agent, like liquid electrical tape or something that's not gonna rub off too easy, and feed it through the holes. And probably do the exact same thing I did here. I used a pair of vice grips to hold these where I wanted them to be. So I kind of flipped up the rudder here just to kind of keep it centered here, and taped down the control arm smack dab in the middle like it is sitting right there. And that this kind of helps it from, when you're getting stuff crimped, it keeps it from pulling over like this when you're trying to get stuff crimped and putting you off center, which would kind of suck if you're out on the water and you've got your control arm all the way over to one direction or the other, and your rudder's dead straight, which means you can only turn one direction, which would suck. But yeah, so I mean, you're supposed to use, like, I think it's called a swagger tool for these. I used a pair of channel locks, and my phone is having a real hard time focusing on that for some reason, and kind of went in a couple different directions, make sure I had a good grab on it. I did that on this side too, but I didn't want to pull off the electrical tape. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. Once you have those crimped down, try to keep them nice and tight. Odin, stop playing with that. Try to keep... Odin! My son wants to go kayaking right now, apparently. He wants to drive the boat. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty easy. I mean, it probably took about as long, aside from the trip to the hardware store, to do all this as it did to take this video. I mean, maybe a few minutes more. I think I'm at the 9-minute mark here, yeah. I think it maybe took me 15 minutes to get everything done. Oh yeah, and then you've got your rudder flip-up pulley thingy. I don't know what the heck it's called, but you pull one side of this, it flips your rudder down, and then you pull the other side of this, and I've got this thing sitting pretty precariously, so it's not wanting to work. But when you're on the water, it's just, you pull it and the rudder comes back up. When you're beaching, that's kind of important. What I don't quite understand is they use shock cable right here, which I'm sure makes tons of sense, but I don't get it. because it kind of hangs up on the cleat here. I might wind up just replacing this with a pulley and maybe changing this cable somewhere up in here, and just hard lining it with paracord or something. Oh, I see why. Because that's kind of pulling those things right back where they're supposed to be. But yeah, that's more or less it. I mean, pretty much all the tools aside from a drill and pliers and vice grips and whatnot. Like all your Allen wrenches, they come with it. There should be a little bag of hardware for just about every piece on here. It was a pretty easy install altogether, and I'm sorry I sound so out of breath. It's been a long work day, and well, I got 2 kids, so y'all know what I'm talking about. But yeah, so that was pretty much it. It was, like I said, a pretty painless process. They were able to walk me through it over their chat feature on their website, and I hope this helps some of you guys out. Who knows? Maybe I'll decide to actually start that YouTube fishing channel I've been talking about for a couple years, and this will just be my maiden video. Yeah, so best of luck to you guys, and thanks again from Hoodoo for what looks like a pretty stand-up product here. Can't wait to get it out on the water. Y'all have a good day and tight lines. Bye.